I'm Prescott Scheibel, CEO of eMedia Vitals. I'm here today with Jeff Giesa, founder and CEO of Best Vendor. Jeff, why don't you tell us a little bit about the company and about the round of funding that you just closed?
Sure. So looked around and at the marketplace and saw a need among smaller businesses that don't have procurement offices, can't afford to subscribe to Gartner Group subscriptions, and really using social recommendations to help them make purchasing decisions. To give them that place like Yelp, like we go to Yelp when we want to find a restaurant, or we go to Amazon when we want to figure out what book to buy. But if you're buying collaboration software or a new phone system for your business, where's that one place you go to figure out what to buy? And our vision is to use social recommendations to be that one person.
Right. So is Best Vendor going to be a horizontal play across all small businesses, or is it like a traditional B2B, like in Fierce when you launched, into specific marketplaces with vendor, kind of like a traditional buyer's guide, 13th issue for a B2B magazine?
Sure. I mean, I think one thing that's different about the marketplace in B2B now versus 10 years ago is that there's really an opportunity, we believe, to create a platform business. So we're definitely taking more of a platform horizontal approach, and we're targeting for our users any business up to 100 employees. And our beachhead markets within that are tech companies and creative companies up to 25 employees. So it's a platform business in the sense that we're going after all companies up to 100, but we're still segmenting it and prioritizing the different verticals within that category. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you're an insurance agent, you might want to see what other insurance agents are using in their business and be able to filter that way. So it's a platform business with the ability to filter and drill down on your specific vertical or category.
And Best Vendor's kind of audience model, is that pure social media? Are you looking for partnerships with traditional B2B publishers? How do you see your business expanding?
So, I mean, one of the great things about the model, I think, is that it's kind of like a business directory that's social, and it has a social networking element in it, because unlike a traditional business directory, you can actually browse other individuals and companies. So it's kind of like a hybrid of a business directory and a social network. Longer term, I definitely think that distribution partnerships are going to be part of the game plan. A lot of B2B publishers are out there who see the same opportunities that we see and are looking for people to partner with to help them build their digital revenues and just gain more experience and DNA around this stuff. And we're definitely interested in partnering with other B2B media companies focusing on different niches.
So what's your revenue model in this? Is it subscriptions, lead generation? Is there a deals component to this? How do you guys make money?
Sure. So 3 ways. One is through enhanced vendor listings. So that's like business directories 101.
Right.
Second way is through referrals, pay-per-click and pay-per-lead advertising. And then third, as you probably know, in business technology, there's a huge reselling market. So we think there's a big opportunity for transactions and actually to be a reseller and to experiment with Groupon type deals with B2B products. For example, subscription software I think is an ideal category. The aim is acquire users really efficiently by virtue of viral network effect, and then make a high ARPU or average revenue per user by virtue of having these business buying decision makers in purchasing mode on our site. We think that's a very rich demographic and context.
Sure. So talk a little bit, you mentioned before about kind of search in the last decade. Global Spec was leading the charge towards vertical search. ABM had made a real big push for vertical search last decade. Social really seems to be taking that kind of the action out of search and into kind of leveraging those connections. How do you see social media changing actual B2B purchasing decisions?
Yeah, well, I think the way I feel about it is, and a lot of our users that we've interviewed have told us that when they buy something, especially for the first time, it feels like they're reinventing the wheel. They have to go out and figure out, so in your case, expense management, you kind of have to go out on your own, and either you call people up and ask them for a referral, or you go to Google and search for it and read through vendor websites, or maybe you go to a lead generation business directory and then get bombarded with like 20 phone calls after they sell your lead 20 times. the experience is pretty isolating and it's not social at all.
Right.
So the way I see the purchasing process change is by making it more social, less like you're alone in this, and making it easier to access the experience of other people, especially those who are your peers and your contacts.
When did you actually begin development of the platform itself?
So incorporated the company in January, partnered with two Columbia guys finishing up at Columbia Business School. One of them has an extensive product background, the other one an extensive programming background. So partnered with them as co-founders in the business, and have really been at it since February, March, kind of going through the the design and the product development process, and we still have a long way to go. This is definitely a more product and technology driven company than I've done in the past.
Right.
And so over the next 3 to 6 months, we're planning to really keep our heads down and go through the customer development and product development process.
And you're looking to exit this closed beta around what time?
So we're looking to, right now we're in what you call an alpha phase, so it's private and it's really, it's kind of like the embryo of the product.
Right.
And probably in early fall we'll release a beta product and release it publicly.
And then finally, what advice do you have for B2B publishers who are trying to really figure out how to play in social? And you looked at the landscape, you clearly saw an opportunity here for a B2B publisher that has a strong presence in a marketplace or maybe in a number of marketplaces. How do they take the activity that's going on in social and turn it into a viable business?
Yeah, I have two pieces of advice. One is think social commerce, not just social media. Right? Because social commerce is a huge opportunity, big markets, a lot of value, and I think B2B media players are so well positioned to capitalize on it, and they're not.
Right.
Other people are, and I think there's a huge opportunity for entrepreneurial B2B media companies. So I would think, again, social commerce, not just social media. Second piece of advice is we really live in a product-driven age, and I think one of the capabilities that's really missing in the B2B media industry, as I see it, is product and the ability to, interaction design, engineering, product development, that whole piece. And let's face it, as B2B media companies are forced to be product companies. You need to launch your mobile edition, you need to launch your iPad, you need to relaunch your website every year, whatever, constantly make changes and design new products. And right now I think that skill set's missing from the industry.
Yeah, the one thing I would add after looking at your business from what I'm able to tell from the materials you sent to us as well as your website, the scale factor. I walk away from this experience looking at B2B media today is linear. Whether it's your requal for your circulation efforts, you're doing telemarketing, getting a certain percentage response rate, email a certain response rate, everything is very linear in terms of a downward linear path. You send this much, you get this much response, this much converts. Whereas your business is social, where it's exponential, going the opposite direction. 5 people signed up today, they shared it with 20 people each. Each one of those shared it with 20 people, and suddenly you have this exponentially rising equation instead of this list fatigue problem that's constantly out there.
Definitely agree, and it's just a risk-reward threshold. Like, in B2B, on the other hand, there are a lot of companies in B2B where you can make a sale on day one.
Right.
And so I think you can be profitable earlier. With this business, I deliberately said, hey, we want to go big or bust.
Right.
And so we think we've identified a multi-billion-dollar market opportunity and like a real-world challenge and problem that we want to solve. There's huge execution risk in getting from here to there,
right.
And we're just keeping our heads down and going to give it the best shot we can.
All right. Well, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Appreciate it.